those 4 wrist locks. Standing application 1, if you get a hold of a hand and simply lift up on the wrist and then press toward the elbow. Notice that hand of his tapping? The minute you see your opponent tap on these, please let go of the pressure. Just release it instantly because this damage is cumulative. If you watch what I'm doing, I'm pressing the wrist in the direction of the ulna. So this is an ulnar wrist lock. All I'm doing is pressing down on the wrist. At the same time, I'm pushing along the line of the elbow. Now I want you to understand this concept of a vector or pressing along the line of a joint. I'm using his whole forearm as my target. I'm pushing that way as I twist his wrist. Now, as we develop these joint locks, you'll notice that once I get pressure on the wrist, wherever I aim the elbow is going to determine which direction I guide him. So the first wrist lock we're looking at here is an ulnar wrist lock. Simply cranking the wrist in the direction of the ulna and then pressing along the line of the forearm. I'm going to get a quick tap and quick cooperation from anybody. Just on the other hand, so you can see it from this angle, you're going to get a good grip on the hand. You bend the wrist toward the ulna and then drive into the forearm. His weight immediately shifts to his toes, and the second he's off balance, he's really basically under control. A quick application of this joint lock is when somebody grabs your shirt, simply grabbing their hand, cranking your weight down so the wrist gets locked, and then rising up. You can see him moving backward already. If he grabs my shirt from this angle here, I'm going to grab the wrist tight, squeeze down on the thumb, bend the wrist in by dropping my weight, and then as I press my weight forward, he's going to move back. This is an ulnar wrist lock from a lapel grab. Another similar application will be a radial wrist lock. And the radial wrist lock applied in this position is exactly the reverse. I'm going to grab his hand, both my hands, from the underside. I'm going to crank in so that he's starting to shift from the pain against his radius, and then I just push his elbow in whichever direction I want him to go, and the pain in the wrist guides where his body goes. Again, the principle, I get pain reactivity from the pressure on the radial wrist lock, and then I guide his elbow in the direction I want him to go. Pushing straight down on the elbow is going to get him to the ground very quickly. Just from so you see the other side of this, you lock here, bend it toward the radius, and then simply push toward the elbow in whatever direction it is you want him to go. In this simple application, just so you get the feel for radial and ulnar wrist locks, again, it'll be from a lapel grab. I grab his hand, I bend forward, putting pressure on the radius, and then I drive into that elbow. I'm sinking my weight. I'll shift down just a little bit, but the rest of it is going to be a step forward and making sure my back is straight as I execute the lock. He grabs on the other side. I simply contain his grip, bend his wrist toward the radius, and then drive forward, bringing my weight along the line of his forearm, which drives him in whatever direction I want him to go.